Good morning, all. This is John. I'm coming to you from the Kaiser Report today to give you an idea of a few things that are going on in and around the nation and the world, and a few things that are going on here locally as well. So good morning, and I hope you have a wonderful Tuesday. A bit rainy here today, a little overcast and some rain in the forecast, so not much farm work will be done today. Not much garden work will get done today, but it's good that what we got in yesterday will get some watering today. Columbia University is still at the gates of heck with these people that are, protesting the pro-Palestinian stuff, and the anti-Israel mob has taken over the Dean's building. How about that? When do we call the police and have these people escorted to jail is what my idea is what should happen. But the White House is going to issue a statement on the anti-Israel mob occupation of Columbia today. I just can't wait to hear what the White House is going to have to say about the sit-in that's now moved into the Dean's building. And I'm sure that there's other universities that are suffering these problems that will experience the same thing from these students, if they are students at Columbia, are pulling with regard to issues that they know nothing about. What they're protesting is against what they're deeming as genocide. Well, how about when Hamas came across the border and, put babies in an oven? Do you think that was genocide? Oh, we only take one side when we're in Columbia University against the Israel people or the Jewish population that's going to school there, paying to go to school there, and as well as NYU. Come on. It's time that this nonsense comes to a stop. If you want to talk about genocide, this country is well guilty in its own right of doing that very thing. Let's go back to the Bush administration, Bush 1, and go from there. And what happened in Iraq, and what happened in many other countries, such as Japan. And you want to talk about genocide against the Jewish population? Let's just take a look at old Adolf's regime that decided that they were going to eradicate a population of people. Where did you hear that recently? From Hezbollah and Hamas. Let's stop fooling around with these children that are out there being supported and paid by whom? Let's ask yourself that. It's not a good situation for a university as highly rated as these universities are, and with the authority to stop it instantly by letting the police come into their quasi-public property and remove these people from the dean's office. It's ridiculous. But that's New York anymore. Speaking of New York, let's take a look at the gag order situation that Donald Trump is being put through now. On top of this phony trial with a tainted jury, they're going to put a fine on him because he dared say something on Truth Social. Come off of it, please. This judge is about as corrupt and as crooked as they can get. And now he's saying one more gag order, contempt, and you go to jail. How much election interference can we tolerate from this judge and this AG in New York that has no case? It's a phony trial. It's a trumped up witch hunt, no pun intended. But the gag order violations, he's going to take that on. While we have students occupying the dean's office and the dean's building at Columbia University, but we don't want to prosecute any of those people, do we? It's becoming violent. It's no longer a peaceful demonstration, folks. It's violence against Jewish students, which needs to stop now. The Biden White House is signaling pessimism about the election in a stunning way. They're putting Kamala Harris out there to do talk shows with it's almost sickening to see Biden with a shock jock has-been literally fawning over Joe Biden and asking the silliest, stupidest prompt questions that he was given to ask. And this guy still made a fool of himself. And now they put Kamala on with Drew Barrymore, who's sitting with bated breath waiting for the next subject to come out of Kamala's mouth. And it was all about laughing is harmful to women to say that she has a funny laugh. And then I got my laugh from my mother. What a lie. These people can do nothing in this campaign but hide and lie. Hide and lie. He comes out and tells Stern that he's looking forward to a debate with Donald Trump. He couldn't debate a second grader and win. And all these made-up lies that he's been caught in 2 and 3 times, he continues to repeat. Maybe it's because his uncle was eaten by cannibals. It gets more and more ridiculous on a daily basis. And if you would make this stuff up, it's unbelievable. But here it is happening right in front of your eyes. And no one is paying attention. His numbers are in the toilet. CNN tried to prop him up by saying he's only 4 to 6 points off of Trump. Well, Trump is locked in a courtroom on purpose, driven by the Democratic Party to keep him off the campaign trail because they are afraid of Donald Trump. They are afraid of Robert Kennedy Jr., who, by the way, did get on the ballot in California, and I'm happy for it. He should be on the ballot in all 50 states. There is no reason for him not to be. Which brings us around to the next big news. Everybody is wondering about the vice presidential pick for Trump. And, they so often mention the name of Kristi Noem as being a candidate for the VP slot. Well, guess what? She just shot herself right out of that bracket by coming out in the book saying that she murdered a puppy. You can't make that up either. What would be wrong with someone that would do it in the first place, and the second place, brag about it? Because I'm strong and I can do this. This is not what we're looking for. Not at all. So I have to figure that somewhere along the line, someone had this to use against her, so she decided to preempt that by putting it in her book. What was wrong with the editors of that book that they couldn't come out and say, hey, you may want to remove this or reword the way you've put it in that book? So that's political suicide in itself. Oh, I think you cannot make this stuff up. It's ridiculous what's going on in this country. We're watching this country destruct itself. And now the whole bit about angels and demons coming up, that there's not aliens, that they're demons, and so on and so on. It depends on what YouTube or channel you subscribe to and go in and look at. The stories in there are unbelievable. Are there aliens? Are there angels? Are there demons? I believe that all three exist. And yes, maybe there's something going on in Area 51, or we know about, or we didn't know about it, or now we do. I don't know. No one knows. I think it's just a factory for new weaponry that we come up with, new aircraft and things of that nature. Is it because we have reverse engineered crashed spaceships? We don't know. No one wants to admit it. No one wants to tell us. No one wants to look at Project Blue Book anymore, which brings us to the military. They were asking in a hearing of the woman that is in charge of the Army whether or not they were going to put illegal aliens in uniform and have them make up the Army. The answer that they got was, well, they really do need to be citizens, but... So that leads me to believe that's exactly what they're going to be up to. So here we go. We don't know who these people are that have come in, by 11 million, and some say 12. We don't know what their affiliations to the Chinese army is, or any of the other countries that emptied their jails and insane asylums into the southern border. But why would you put an enemy soldier in our army? That doesn't make sense, does it? But they're going to do it. You could tell by her answer, and the general that sat there looking to her. Should I answer that? Should I not? How do I do that? Oh, yes, you have to be a resident of the country. Doesn't say you have to be a citizen of the country. You have to be a resident. So what are these people that are living in, let's just take the Roosevelt Hotel in New York? Are they all candidates for our army? I don't think so. But yet, it's a question that comes up and not amply answered. What is wrong with our Congress people and our senators that are sitting in seats of power that they can't get hold of this thing? They can't balance a budget. Most states throughout the United States have to balance their budget. But our government just doesn't want to bother, balancing the budget. Let's just spend more money. Let's throw money into the Ukraine. Let's throw money into looking at the sex life of mosquitoes. We don't have the money. We don't have the population working anymore because layoffs are on the upswing one more time. And if you're not convinced of that, look at Tesla. Look at Google. Look at all of these major corporations that are laying people off, the automobile industry. And then the dopes at the UAW come out and back Biden? Does this make any sense? This is Bizarro World. If you remember the Superman comic strips, Bizarro World, well, we're experiencing it firsthand right now. It's a darn shame that we've let this country fall into the pit of despair. Suicide is on the rise. People don't know how they're going to make their next house payment. Foreclosures are on the rise. Bank loans are not being paid. Commercial buildings are being foreclosed because no one goes to the offices anymore. No one wants to rent an office building. COVID did more harm to the working population and the school children of this country then it is immeasurable, the harm that has been done by the mishandling of COVID by two administrations because of trust in an individual that brought us COVID in the first place. But Fauci's running around a half a millionaire or worse, not paying the price for any of the grief that he's brought into this country and the destruction that he's done to the children of this country and the population that had to take the shot to stay in line with what the administrations of two administrations had to deal with. Not a good thing. But it continues because now they want to raise taxes on the working population and the retired population of this country. They want to have a capital gains tax of 45%, and this is Joe's idea of how to put more money into a budget that he gives away. These people are very free with our money. It's not their money to do this with, and this Congress has to be brought into line. The Senate has to be brought into line, and the administration needs to balance the budget. You want to bring in all these illegals to do the farm work? How are they going to do that if you keep closing the farms there, Bill Gates? What are you going to do with all the oil workers that are being laid off, Joe? What's happened to the people in the coal industry that has been laid off? Where is unemployment going to get the money to sustain the future layoffs that are coming? And if you don't think so, if you think your job is ironclad, it's not. Petroleum is a necessary factor in this country and around the world. So is coal. And the electric dream has already reared its head of failure in front of your very eyes. People do not want this. It's not affordable. It damages the environment. And if you're so worried about all this global warming and environmental protection, why are you making these batteries that are doing more destruction than if you pump the oil out? It's a proven factor. Not to mention the fact that this government has given away our mineral rights. He's destroyed the oil industry in Alaska. Now he's going after the lower 48. When does it stop? The man shows up at the press meeting and begs the press to help him win the election. What the hell does he think they've been doing for the entire time that he's run for office right through his administration? The press has always been on his side, but the press is beginning to believe now that maybe they made a little mistake. But it's controlled by the government. This is why you have scripted newscasters on these legacy stations that lie to you on a daily basis. It gets worse by the day. Our recruitment is down. They have to bring back the draft if they're going to save the military in this country. Everyone should do their part. But there's no interest on anyone joining. And administration has done this to the military. This woke military thing is the reason that people are not signing up. Thank God for the ROTC programs in the juniors in high schools and in colleges that are still supporting it, because they are the future of the military. But putting illegal aliens in there, most who don't speak English, is not the method to solve your recruitment issues. The diversity hires in this administration have made mistakes because they're inexperienced and they shouldn't be in that job. And the head of the Army is a classic example. There's a lot of sneakiness going on behind the curtain that we don't see, but it comes out a little at a time, and it's upsetting, and it's upsetting to most Americans, especially the working class Americans, that see what's happening to them while the elites, such as Howard Stern, the shock jock, well, boy, has he lost it. Living out on Long Island, I guess, is with a moat around his house, I guess has got to him, and he became woke all of a sudden. And then, he was hard to understand because his head was so far up Biden's rear end on that interview. It wasn't funny. Nothing funny about it. Well, tell us, did you work as a lifeguard? Do you remember that? Do you remember, did you save 12 kids? What? Did you remember that your uncle was eaten by cannibals? I guess he remembered that. He tells the same lie over and over again, and you have to ask yourself and wonder why they're letting him run. Unless they have a trick up their sleeve that they're going to pull on us, or another pandemic, or worse, that's coming our way that we haven't been able to discern yet. But something's going to happen. And we're lucky if we don't end up in World War III before November. We're not in good standing in the world. NATO is a shadow of its former self. And they need to get the heck, if we have boots in the Ukraine, as they're admitting now, we need to get them out of there. Get away from that war. Stay out of the Israeli-Hamas war. And for God's sake, the students that are listening to this and maybe another broadcast, get off of the point that you're trying to make, because it doesn't make any sense. Learn about what's really going on before you have statements on it or protest for something that you do not understand. We're talking about thousands of years of conflict in that region. It has little to nothing to do with what's actually going on there. Hamas is a terror group that did a terrorist act, and now they're being punished for it. And the Palestinian people voted them into power. Get that through your heads and quit holding up people that want to learn and are there to get a degree and learn what they need to learn, and not from home. They pay to be at that university. They should be there. I don't care if you're Jewish, Muslim, or otherwise. Well, got all that off my chest, and we're still here. No one is left, I hope. But that's what's going on. And locally here in Appalachia, there are some festivals coming up. I think we're looking forward to, I believe it's the first part of May, around the 11th or 12th, we're looking at the Strawberry Festival, and that takes place over in Unicoi County. And that should be a fun trip to take. Kaiser and I will be down there with the camera and eating some really good fresh strawberries. And there's quite a few festivals that are coming on throughout the spring and summer months, which we'll keep you up to date on. And then we have the Iris Festival, of course, will take place almost locally here. And then we have the Rhododendron Festival that takes place up in Roan Mountain, Tennessee, which is always beautiful, and we'll bring you some pictures of that. But other than that, there's not a whole lot more going on throughout the world today. If you're flying anywhere, try not to get on a Boeing jet because they just continue to be plagued with problems, such as the losing a slide off of one the other day. The emergency slide in flight fell off. So Boeing continues to have its problems, as well as the airlines that depend on their Boeing aircraft for their passengers are suffering a little bit. And the prices of air travel have gone up, exponentially up. Prices on everything are going up. Nothing is coming down. And the Fed, in their infinite wisdom, is now rethinking dropping interest rates. And they realize now that that would cause us a problem if they did it. So I would not hang my hat on that. Real estate-wise, it came out yesterday that in Florida, new home builders are offering 4.5% interest rate if you buy new, which has upset the people that have their pre-built houses on the market, trying to sell those because an interest rate on those are a lot more money. So that's going to hurt the home sellers, but the home constructors are going to see a little bit of a boom there, and their inventory is building. So, and that said, we're going to probably let you out of here with some news tomorrow. We'll tune in to the Kaiser Report tomorrow morning for an update on all of this nonsense. And we hope you all have a blessed day. We love you here at the Kaiser Report. And remember, if you haven't subscribed, and also comment on the channel. And we'll see you tomorrow. Bye-bye now.